So we also want to introduce and thank our hardworking other staff who are registering you or are behind the sales tables. You just met Lisa Strand, Director of Operations and a Prime Convention Planner. And here are other staff present, and their titles are on their badges, and please get acquainted. And you're looking at Rebecca, Greta, Eleanor, Amit, Sadie, PJ, and Lisa. And Mark.
Mark and Ryan and Patrick and Katina and Kat, Sam, Ryan, Sammy, and many of our attorneys are here. And if you have any legal questions, like state church questions, hold them for the Ask an Attorney workshop on Saturday afternoon.
Our video director, Bruce Johnson, is the man behind the curtains, and attorney Chris Line is our official convention photographer.
This is a staff portrait taken by Chris in front of the Forward statue in Madison, Wisconsin, including some staff who are not here with us today.
And we also want to thank our executive board members who oversee FFRF. We list also everyone else helping with AV, camera work, social media there in the brochure. So thank you, everyone.
And please look for our Clean Money volunteers, our board member Todd Peisig and Eric Lawrence. This is your chance to win some clean money, pre-In God We Trust currency, with a grand prize of a $100 bill.
It's the table in the very back over there.
We also want to thank FACT, the Free Thought Association of Central Texas, for all their help before and during this convention.
And also, it is optional, but we do encourage you to wear masks in the ballroom. We do have those free masks in the lobby. As Lisa said, try to keep them on during the book signings. Pew shows that while white evangelical Protestants are the least likely to be vaccinated and boosted, atheists are the most likely. So,
I hope this inoculates me from religion.
We are dedicating this year's conference to Catherine Faringer, who ran our San Antonio chapter for 2 decades, hosted Free Thought Forum, a TV show here in San Antonio, was on FFRF's board, and was a one-woman FFRF agitator in San Antonio, drumming up good trouble. And this photo, some of you might remember, if you're old enough, appeared on the cover of the San Antonio Express News Sunday magazine in 1991. And in that cover story, Catherine was quoted saying, "We would be 1,500 years ahead if it hadn't been for the church dragging science back by its coattails and burning our best minds at the stake." And she loved young freethinkers, and one of our major student activist awards is named for her and being given to Will Larkins later today.
So in 1991, the year that story ran here in San Antonio, FFRF had about 3,700 members, about 1/10 of what we have today. Today we have grown to almost 40,000 members. You can see on this chart that 10 years ago in 2012, we had just under 20,000 members. So we've doubled in a decade. And in the last year, our membership has grown by 12%. We are the largest we've ever been.
And we just got word that once again, for the 15th year in a row, FFRF was awarded a 4-star rating by Charity Navigator, the premier charity group, and we got, in fact, a perfect score, and that's less than 1% of charities.
It's the best of times to be a non-believer. In America, the non-religious population is growing fast. We nuns, N-O-N-E-S, and the unaffiliated are a third of the adult population.
But it is truly the worst of times to be a secularist in terms of the judiciary. Many of our speakers and legal and legislative staff at this conference will be addressing the ominous landscape and legal climate change. But even in these times, FFRF continues to win lawsuits and stop violations, and our attorneys will tell you all about that later today. We'll also have many speakers addressing the fallout from the terrible Dobbs decision overturning Roe versus Wade, and of course talking about SB 8 and what can be done. And this image is part of an ad we ran in May, right after the leak about the pending Dobbs decision. This ran in the New York Times, and it said the imminent reversal of Roe versus Wade was a supreme betrayal.
In February, FFRF and the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty released our timely, jointly sponsored report on Christian nationalism at the January 6th insurrection. And one of the co-authors of that report, Dr. Anthea Butler, will be speaking tomorrow.
An important part of FFRF's programming are our student activist competitions and scholarships. So we briefly want to tell you, we average $100,000 a year in those scholarships. Here are the 2022 high school winners. FFRF awarded almost $18,000 in that contest.
And we awarded more than $18,000 to the ongoing college students who won our 2022 Kenneth Prue competition.
FFRF awarded more than $19,000 in our annual contest to encourage Black, Indigenous, and students of color. All contests are open to all students in their right class rank, except we do offer an extra contest for BIPOC students.
FFRF bestowed more than $17,000 in our Cornelius Vanderbroek Memorial Essay Contest for grad students and older students this year.
And we gave a total of $9,000 to 3 winning students in the Stephen and Diane Uhl Memorial Essay Contest for law students. We also have designated many student activist awards this year, and there are 3 standouts here in person to talk today and tomorrow, and 3 of our student essay winners. We also want to thank our generous member, Lance Bredvold, for once again underwriting the Forward Free Thought Tuition Relief Fund, which partners with Black Skeptics Los Angeles to give about $30,000 a year to those who are first in their family, freethinkers who are attending college. So I know Lance is here somewhere. Thank you, Lance.
FFRF co-sponsors a lot of events around the world, including the Celebrating Dissent International Conference in Cologne, Germany in August, with attendees from more than 30 nations, primarily featuring ex-Muslims. Annie Laurie and I both chaired a panel at that event. The conference had been long planned, but it took place right after that brutal attack on Salman Rushdie. So the attendees marched in solidarity for free expression, and here's Richard Dawkins in that march.
FFRF co-sponsored the 3rd annual Women of Color Beyond Belief conference meeting in Chicago in September, and this is one of their main organizers, Mandisa Thomas, who's at the conference here, and she's on a panel and will be part of Godless Gospel.
And you don't want to miss Godless Gospel tonight. FFRF was the co-sponsor of the 2nd Latin American Free Thought Conference held in Colombia this year in September. Here's some of the organizers, including speakers from about a dozen Latin American countries. Here's another shot of that conference. That's Hypatia Alexandria, you can see standing on the left there, representing Hispanic American freethinkers. This past year, various FFRF staff spoke in person in Iowa, Illinois, Florida, Lake Superior, Germany, Colombia, Canada, Kentucky, San Jose, San Francisco, Sacramento, Tennessee, and Chicago. Also participated in many virtual events, including conferences in India for the Bay Area Humanists, and the Religious Trauma Conference, and a virtual debate in Canada.
We unveiled our I'm Secular and I Vote national PR campaign over Independence Day weekend. We ran at least one full-page ad in a daily newspaper in all 50 states, usually in the capital city and the largest dailies in the state. And the ads included an FFRF member or couple representing us in every state, because you, our members, are our best advertisement. And this full-page ad also ran in the New York Times. And in many states, we also launched secular vote billboards.
And that's the composer, Brent Michael Davids, a member of the Stockbridge Muncie community, longtime FFRF member from Wisconsin. The ad says, "I'm one of more than 75 million secular Americans who are not religious. The nuns, unaffiliated with religion, are now 29% of the U.S. population, the largest denomination by religious identification. As a secular voter, I trust in reason, science, and America's secular constitution. I want Congress, my state legislature, my public officials, and our courts to keep religion out of government and social policy, keep religion out of public schools, keep religion out of bedrooms, personal lives, and healthcare decisions, including when or whether to have children and whom to love or marry. Use my tax dollars only for evidence-based, not faith-based purposes. If you agree with me, please vote your secular values."
Go. We also ran the ads in the remaining states timed for Constitution Day weekend, and Constitution Day is September 17th. And this is our staff member, C.D. Pattinson, who's one of our convention planners, in a photo taken by Chris that appeared in the Washington Post on that weekend.
Thanks, Chris and Sadie.
Bruce also put together a brief video showing all the participants in every state.
We took a stand to declare our independence from kings. We knew that we the people could rule this land and show the world how true freedom rings. We wrote a constitution, the very first, to separate the church from the state. No one can tell the people what to believe, and that's what makes this nation so great. To no Lord, we're a free secular nation. We are servants no more to the old sovereign rulers. We will no longer nod. We are e pluribus unum, not one nation under God. We will bow down to no master. We will kowtow to no Lord. We're a free secular nation. We are servants no more to the old sovereign rulers. We will no longer nod. We are e pluribus unum, not one nation under God. Revolution, we took a stand to declare our independence from kings. We knew that we the people could rule this land and show the world how true freedom rings. We wrote a constitution, the very first, to separate the church from the state. No one can tell the people what to believe, and that's what makes this nation so great. We fought a revolution. We took a stand to declare our independence from kings. We will bow down to no master. We will kowtow to no king. We're a proud secular nation. We will let freedom ring.
And here's some of the other billboards in action. We're just going to zip through these. You can see them all over the country, reminding politicians, reminding elected officials.
And we're pleased many of our representatives from various states are here today, and we're going to ask you to stand now. Don't wait for me to call your name. If you participated, please stay standing while I read all the names so everyone has a chance to see you. Julie Olson, Alaska; Chris Sweeney, Arkansas; Mandisa Thomas, Georgia; Jodette Lenzer, Missouri; Weldon Merritt, New Mexico;
Claudette St. Pierre, Colorado; Paul Novak and Diane Cooper from Iowa; Ed and Michael Hensley in Kentucky; Tom Waddell in Maryland; Nick Sheridan in Maryland; Tom Waddell in Maine, David and Myra Peck in New York; Candace Gorham, North Carolina; Cheryl Colby, Oregon;
Margaret Downey and Tom Schottmiller, Pennsylvania, Carl and Alita Ledendecker, Tennessee, David Tamayo and Hypatia Alexandria, Virginia, Louis and Linda Forster, Washington, and Cody Valdez, Texas. Speaking of Cody Valdez, here's his billboard that went up on the 4th of July in Austin. And when this billboard went up, a local TV station interviewed him. Bruce, can you play that?
As an atheist and a secular voter, I am not part of this in-group that is in charge of society right now.
Cody Valdez is one of millions of non-religious Americans calling on politicians to keep faith and religion out of government and social policy.
When the government has decided that they can unilaterally terminate a woman's right to have access, potentially life-saving access to medical care that they need, that to me doesn't look like we are heading back to our secular roots.
Cody is the face of a new campaign launched by the Freedom of Religion Foundation, with billboards like this one popping up in cities across the Lone Star State.
I'm atheist and I vote is a pretty big statement, but I think it's a necessary one because so many people who are atheists are afraid to live openly, and especially when it comes to the political atmosphere, being an atheist isn't something that voters are really comfortable with. So I think that opening up and allowing people to see everyday Americans just like themselves really helps to encourage people to openly embrace a secular lifestyle. And for me personally, that is incredibly important when it comes to things like influencing our laws.
Here in Travis County, 33% of adults identify as atheists or none, a number that's higher than the national average, according to the Freedom of Religion Foundation.
I would like for our city leaders to know that they have to be considerate of people that are different than them, people like me, people like my friends, people like my family, that are in every other way identical to them except for in their religious faith and their political values.
Cody believes lawmakers should consider evidence-based legislation to include all voters impacted.
I would like to see more, accountability for these politicians in making sure that they have a reason to support or enforce or propose a law that's not the Bible.
And then here is FACT volunteer Katie Gaines, a friend of hers, in front of one of 4 billboards featuring Cody saying, "I'm an atheist and I vote," that are up right now in San Antonio. And those are up to welcome you. This is a joint project between FFRF and the Free Thought Association of Central Texas. And they split the costs, and we're very grateful to them and very grateful to Cody. And here are some of the locations where Cody's billboard appears.
And now we'd like to have Cody, I hope you're here, Cody, come up. He's a student. He's our state representative here, just to say hi. And Cody, while you do that, we do want to thank the Free Thought Association of Central Texas, again, for all your help in getting these billboards up. Do we have Cody here? Maybe he's no? Well, you've seen him, and we're very grateful.
He's probably doing another interview.
Oh, where is he?
He's voting.
Oh, he's voting. Yes, I hope so. And we want to turn from print advertising to the airwaves, and this year saw the debut of a new monthly podcast called We Dissent, hosted by female secular attorneys from American Humanists, American Atheists, and FFRF, and it was the brainchild of FFRF legal director Rebecca Market, and Liz Cavell from our staff is the other FFRF attorney on the show. Rebecca reports We Dissent has already reached 20,000 downloads.
And our weekly radio show, Free Thought Radio, has been continuously airing since 2006. This week, we broadcast our 861st show, which airs on various stations around the country. It also becomes a podcast, which has had more than 1.1 million downloads since inception.
We also have a weekly Ask an Atheist show on Facebook Live where viewers can ask questions. And here's a quick look at the diversity of programming on our Ask an Atheist program, making use of our talented staff and guests. So please play that, Bruce. Oh, that keeps going. Let's go.
And here are some of the guests and shows featured on FFRF's TV talk show, Free Thought Matters, which airs in about 13 cities on Sundays. Of course, also, you can watch it on our YouTube channel.
So all of our video production is directed by Bruce Johnson in our own studio, the Stephen Uhl Friendly Atheist Studio in Free Thought Hall. And sadly, both Stephen, was a former priest, and his wife Diane are no longer with us. Diane died this year. Their generosity and ideas have made FFRF so much more powerful, and their nephew Greg will say a bit more about them on Saturday morning.
If you're able to get to Manhattan in the next few weeks, you should definitely see the new off-Broadway play called The Unbelieving, based on The Clergy Project and the book Caught in the Pulpit by Daniel Dennett and Linda Scola, about clergy like me who are now atheists. It's playing at the 59 East 59th Theater. You can visit 59e59.org for details. The 30-second version of this ad, featuring Ron Reagan, aired during this week on Comedy Central's Daily Show. You can look for it on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays over the next 2 weeks. Can you play this ad for us, Bruce?
This is a special version that Ron created for us.
Hi, I'm Ron Reagan, an unabashed atheist.
When I first recorded that commercial back in 2014, being openly atheist in America was still fairly uncommon. Today, the fastest growing religious group in the country is the non-religious, especially among the young. That progress is heartening, but the religious pushback is fierce and the forces of Christian nationalism are well organized. Our progress won't continue unless we work together so that reason and our secular constitution will prevail. That's why I'm asking you to join the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the nation's largest and most effective association of atheists and agnostics working to keep state and church separate, just like our founders intended. Please join the Freedom from Religion Foundation today. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
It never gets old.
And here is what we call FFRF's world-famous atheist digital marquee, the only atheist marquee in the world. It's on the side of our building, Free Thought Hall, in Madison, Wisconsin, and with this very important election year message, vote like your rights depend on it, because they do.
And because the electoral landscape has changed so much, the FFRF board is creating a C4 lobbying division with more clout where it counts. And you will soon be hearing more about the FFRF Action Fund. Thank you so much for being a part of FFRF.